Hey, Steve, coming at you here with another video. Now that I'm doing some M&A work and I get to see behind the curtains at various businesses, no matter whether they're e-commerce or SaaS businesses, or occasionally we'll get some publishing websites or affiliate websites, but primarily it's SaaS and e-commerce. And I always ask them some simple questions, which again, they have access to a lot of data, yet they don't know where to look a lot of times, or they don't bother because they're so busy. But I would stress to you to please do not ignore some of the tools that are right at your fingertips, because so many people make this mistake and it ends up costing them a lot of money, especially as we're now working with businesses on trying to take them across that line to have that exit experience. Cause that's where you're going to make the lion's share of the money, is when you have that exit experience. But yet, if you don't know your numbers and you don't know where some of those leaky holes are in your business, it's going to cost you dearly. Because if you knew where these opportunities are, or leaky holes, however you want to look at it, you would then focus your attention on these areas, and then you can actually grow your business, which is going to relate to more revenue and more profitability. And if you're trying to sell your business because you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you're stressed out, you're having trouble sleeping at times because you just don't know how you're going to turn the corner, just taking a look a little bit deeper at your analytics would really open your eyes up and just kind of shift that perspective on what your opportunities are, and really give you a lot more hope. And that's something I see time and time again. For example, here was a client we were working with recently. I share my screen here, and this is their back end and their Google Analytics. And what's unfortunate is they didn't even know to look in the back end. So if you look here, in the last 30-day period here, there's a $103 order value, which is pretty good, but this is a really good number here. This 3.36%. So I can tell you from an e-commerce perspective, that's a very, very good number, or on the high side of average. So it tells me that this business is right in line. Now, what they need to know is, in these 70 transactions, what is their cost of goods sold down to the penny, so they can then figure out their gross margins, and then they can subtract other costs associated with that. But here's an example, because I see this over and over and over again. If I even come back over here to the acquisition side, I say, well, how are they getting these customers? How are they getting these eyeballs? And if I look right here, it tells me, this right here jumps out at me, that 7% of their conversions, which leads to that 3.36% right here, but 7.25 comes from email. And yet businesses just don't email their list enough, or they aren't building a relationship with them. Now, this business clearly does have a good relationship, because you have a 7.5% conversion. They're also getting conversions from organic and then direct, of course, but that should tell the business owner, I need to do more email, and more importantly, take that a step back, is dig deeper into how can I get more emails onto my list? Because if I'm getting this kind of conversion, then I know that I'm going to get some really good conversion in the back end, which is going to grow my revenue and grow my profitability. The other thing that I continue to see is that if I drill into this a little bit here, if I look at all the traffic and the channels that it's coming from, to look at this data from a different perspective, if I'm looking right here again, email is clearly the winner. It's 43% of their revenue in the last 30 days. It's converting at 7.25%. So right there, from just a couple clicks and looking at one tool, I'm able to ascertain that they should be focusing on building their email list and building that a relationship with their customers. And unfortunately, many business owners are not doing this, even though this particular business is doing that here in this example. Again, they've got the majority of their revenue comes from email right now. Most businesses are not doing that in terms of focusing on building that relationship with their email list, which they're going to get more customers from. Because once you have an initial transaction with a customer, it's much more likely they're going to come back and buy from you again and again, because now you're building that trusted relationship. Yet business owners continue to make this mistake, especially now as I'm doing this M&A work with these small businesses, as we're trying to help them sell these assets. and they leave so much money on the table because time and time again, they're not even looking at their back end to see these numbers. And a lot of times they're just so busy and overwhelmed. But I think if you had time to take a look at your business and looked at that a little bit closer, it would just have that little bit of a shift on how you can look at your business a little bit different. So if you're not doing that right now, I hope this video was helpful to show you just one example of an e-commerce business that's doing well. They could be doing better if they just put their attention onto growing their email list and growing that relationship. It could be the same thing for SaaS or any online business. So hopefully this encourages you to look at your data, and I could go much, much deeper. But in this scenario, I just wanted to show you with a couple clicks and less than a few minutes here, I was able to pull out real quick the highlights, the executive summary on what's going on with this business and where the revenue, where the profitability is coming from. Because think about it, if they're on your email list, they're probably already purchased from you in the past. So that's increasing your lifetime value. That's another number that you should be so focused on in terms of what is your lifetime value for a customer of yours. Because once you know that number, you can then back it out and say, what's my cost to acquire the initial customer? Take that a step farther back. And what is it a cost to acquire a lead, which is your email? If you know those numbers, and then what is your average transaction value? You know those four numbers. I know pretty much everything about your business. And yet time and time again, I meet very intelligent people who don't know these numbers. A lot of times just not looking at data like this. So I strongly encourage you to do that. If you'd like any help with using tools like this, or there's other tools out there, this is just one of many. Go ahead and drop a comment below or click the link somewhere around this video, and we can set up a time to chat, or we can just engage in a short conversation. I guarantee you a lot of times when I just have that short conversation, I open up a lot of eyes and we both end up learning something. So that's what I can guarantee if we have a quick chat, and we'll do it something like this. Thanks.